Welcome to the bench. I'm going to tune this thing. Some of you might recognize this guitar from a few months back. Welcome to the show. If you're here, kind of a long ways from my computer, and I'll do my best to keep track of the chat and answer any questions that any of you might have. Me and Fred chilling out at home tonight. Forgive me for the tuning song. I will not apologize. Just forgive me. We'll get this thing, we'll get this guitar dialed in. I can tell that there are some adjustments that I would like to make to this guitar. This is a Strat that a client of mine brought into our shop a few months ago. A beautiful home-built kit guitar. She got some help from a friend to build this thing, and did a pretty good job. Hearing this from my camera mic. I'm not going direct tonight. Just This thing really sounds great. I'm not aware of where the kit came from. It definitely needs some fret work, but we're going to do that at a later date. I don't have time tonight, and kind of on a bit of a crunch to get this thing done. So we'll make a few adjustments to this guitar a little later. Let me grab my tuner off of there. I'll leave that one sit. And I want to say hi to everybody. Hello, Mark. Welcome. Thanks for being here, brother. What we're working on tonight is an Art and Luthrie nylon string classical guitar. It's a parlor-sized instrument, and this thing looks like it's had a pretty good amount of playing time on it with the wear that we're seeing. I'll let you take a look down here at the guitar. You can see some pretty good finger wear on this, so that's great to see. This thing is getting a lot of love. A couple of things that I'm going to do on this instrument. Number one, I'm going to change the strings on it tonight, but I'm also going to lower this string action, because you could throw a dog under these strings very easily. They're way too high, and so the player of this guitar is having to work way too hard to make it a comfortable guitar. And you know, a lot of folks wouldn't even necessarily know that that's the case, but as y'all, if you've watched my Welcome to the Bench, it's a common issue that I solve for folks. So we're going to do that. I'm just going to dive right in right now. And again, I'm working from home tonight, so you can see my good things jar over there, and my tool kit, and my Nag Champa burner, and my headphones, and my lava lamp. I should go ahead and turn that on. Why not? Let's see if it still works. I think it does. Yeah, I think it does. Oh yeah, look at that. It works. So we'll have some lava lamp motion throughout. And I don't think I'll get a copyright strike for that. It's not, what's her face? What's her name? Sheryl Crow. So we'll roll with that. So we're going to start by just removing the strings off of this thing. I'm going to treat the fingerboard with some linseed oil. We'll probably treat the bridge here, and we'll remove some material off of the saddles. And given the fact that this thing only has 5 strings on it at the moment, I can't really do a whole lot to adjust the string action yet. We'll put new strings on it and then have to make the adjustments from there. I'm going to relieve some tension off of these strings. There was a great show today on, if any of you saw it, the string, I don't know, a lot of folks don't like the fact that you take all the strings off of a guitar all at once. It's some kind of detriment to your guitar. It'll damage it or make the neck tweak out or whatever. Yeah, that's again a whatever. One thing about changing strings on a nylon string guitar, especially an open headstock like this, it does take a little bit more time to get the strings wound on here, just because of the configuration of the machine heads and such. So, but we'll get these ones off of here. The clippers. I don't have my full toolbox here at home. I didn't bring them home tonight, or I didn't bring it home for the weekend. I have enough stuff here that I can take care of business, and I would like to give some honorable mention to my buddy, my neighbor, one of my best friends, and he and I get to hang out a lot, Mr. Robin Spangler. He lives right upstairs, and he does a lot of work with wood. And in fact, over here on my wall, I have a 12-string guitar that belongs to him that we've done a bunch of work on, and that's his mandolin up there. And I get to play those whenever I want. And he felt like having them here was a better opportunity for them to get used. So, and I'm grateful to him for that, and for the 100 grit sandpaper that I'll be using here in a few moments. Yeah. So everybody say thanks to Robin. Alright, now these strings are definitely tied in a knot up here at on the machine heads, which you really never have to do on any guitar. It creates a bit more work for you when you're... And if you break a string at a gig and you've tied your strings in a knot, I say this all the time, but this is a bad idea. Because if you're at a gig and you break a string, name a guitar player that would have a pair of these or a pair of these with them at a gig. You can't. So I'm going to try and get these strings untied here. Not too bad, but definitely, there we go. It's coming out of here. At least that side is. Let's see what's happening here. Oh boy. What is doing? There we go. Well, let me get my camera up here and get it in the action. You can see what I'm wrestling with. And hopefully you can see that okay and my camera doesn't tip over. Again, my camera guy, he likes to drink a lot, so probably should fire him. And Fred usually loves this part, but because he loves chasing the strings around, but he doesn't seem too interested. He's busy napping over there on my audio interface. All right, so you can see that I can't just pull this string out of here like real easily. Again, I gotta use a pair of these to get this string out of here. And forgive me if the light's not real great. I don't have super bright lights in my recording studio. I usually shoot stuff pretty dim when I'm making music videos and the like. So we'll get these bad boys off of here soon enough. These are put on pretty well, but again, I don't like kind of knot tying or going through the hole twice. It's kind of it's really unnecessary. And we'll get these bad boys off here. Here we go. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing up here. I know my hand's right in the middle of the movie most of the time, but I'm working. Here we go. Now, the reason I'm working at home again tonight is because the young lady who brought this guitar over from a town that's about a 40-45 minute drive from her home to La Grande, where I live. And I'm just trying to save her a trip to have to drive back. She's over watching a friend of hers perform live tonight in a little town called Walla Walla, where I've played recently at the BFW. She's at a club called Plum Cellars, and my good friend Terry Lamont, who was her high school teacher, I believe, or maybe grade school, I'm not sure, is playing a gig over there. So she's going over to watch him perform live, which is really super cool to be able to do that. So she was passing through town, and I am not afraid to work on the weekends or on a Friday night. It's not like I go out and do a whole lot of stuff. Here we go. Get these strings off of here soon enough. And again, this is why when you put strings on an instrument, you should, this part of it is kind of again, it may help tuning stability, but again, if you're gigging and you break a string and you got to deal with this, you are not going to have a good time at a show. It'll take you 10 minutes, 15 minutes to change one string instead of 3. And I'll show you how I wind classical strings on a classical guitar here without doing all the double through the hole and all that stuff. I have no idea how long these strings have been on this instrument. Doesn't really matter. So I'm going to give the fingerboard a good wipe down here. I'll get the camera up here. See, like my camera guy's doing a pretty decent job tonight. Everybody, give my cameraman a big round of applause. He's working really hard. Keep up with me. The fingerboard is in really good shape. I'm not going to use any cleaner on it at all. It doesn't need it. I will polish up the body of the guitar here in a moment now that I've got all the strings off of it. But these frets are in really good shape, and just wiping them down with a rag. This has a little bit of polishing compound on it, so it will polish these frets up nicely. It doesn't need much. There's that. Let me see. We're gonna, okay, so this saddle has a shim in it. So I'm gonna remove that right now because it does not need it. And I'm probably gonna have to remove some more material off of the saddle. Boy, it's definitely sanded at a pretty steep angle there. We'll see how that all plays out in the setup. So let's, first things first, let's get some linseed oil on this fingerboard. Doing the normal, usual setup. Hello everybody, I see some folks showing up and I appreciate you being here with me. Feel free to leave a comment. You have to be subscribed to my channel to be able to comment on the video, so no apologies for that. Kind of keeps the, I don't know, naysayers usually out of the mix. Boy, that wood just came right back to life. I love the way that looks. It just looks beautiful now. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, wow. And again, with this, I use unboiled linseed oil. Just wipe it on and wipe it off. You don't need to get a bunch on there, build it up, or anything like that. It should almost have a dull appearance when you're done wiping it all off of here. So there's the work that we do to get this fingerboard protected. This linseed oil, it keeps the bad stuff out and the good stuff in the wood. And this appears to be probably an Indian rosewood fingerboard, is what I would guess. This is an Art and Luthrie, made in Quebec, Canada. I love these guitars. I have much respect for the company that builds these. A lot like I have respect for the guys that designed Reaper, for very similar reasons. Just a great, they take great pride in their work on these guitars, and they're usually very well built, and they respond very well to setup work. I'm just taking the extra bit of linseed oil I have on my rag, and we'll wipe down the bridge and bring this wood all back to life. Get this stuff looking good. Makes the guitar just look fantastic. You don't have to do this every time you change your strings. I recommend treating a guitar with linseed oil. I mean, obviously depending on how much you play it, but you know, once a year or once every other year is really an acceptable policy to follow. It does wear off, and I suppose you just want to retreat it every once in a while. Let me get another paper towel. I try to use as few of these as I can get away with. Hey, looks like I'm gonna take just a moment to say hello to anyone in the chat. I really can't see the monitor that I have the chat playing on right now. I'm too far away from it. My vision isn't that good. And I know that the camera is going to wobble when I'm working on this a little bit, so forgive me if you get motion sickness. Again, I need to really talk to my cameraman. He's He's kind of flaky, I think, sometimes. He's a really, really cool dude, but boy, he's flaky. Okay, so this is the polish that I've got here. This stuff smells fantastic. It smells really good, and it's a really great polishing compound. This guitar obviously doesn't have a pick guard, so we'll just put a little bit of this on here and we'll go over all the sides of the guitar. This is just basic cleanup while I got the strings off of it. Oh man, that stuff smells good. Wow. I wish you could smell this. It is awesome. If you've ever bought a brand new Gibson guitar, they flavor those cases with some stuff that's just magic. Kind of a vanilla flavor. This stuff doesn't smell the same, but similar. All right. The guitar is in really good shape. It's definitely been well cared for in its home. So my compliments on that. Try and get this thing clean, just to make sure. And of course I'll clean it and then I'll get my fingerprints all over it, but well, I think I could be forgiven for that. We'll wipe it down before I send it home. Super cool. I hope Terry is having a great show tonight over in Walla Walla and got a really great turnout. I don't know who all the other musicians are in his lineup. I didn't look at the release of who he's playing with over there, but he might be doing a solo show. Oh, and I just heard something bounce around inside this guitar, so we'll check and see what kind of secret stuff is bouncing around in there. Sounds like it might be a guitar pick. Didn't sound loud enough to be a guitar pick. We'll see. All right. Oh man, this stuff smells good. All right. Had a really great night last night after work. I had been chatting with a gentleman. I don't think he's, oh maybe it is, I think I see Axiom. Let me put my glasses on. I usually don't wear my glasses when I work on guitars because I can see up close very, very clearly. And it works better for me. Oh, Axiom's here. Great to see you. Zach, hello. Zach, welcome. Right on. Mark. And it looks like Guitar Shocker's here also. And hello, Preston. If I've missed any of you, forgive me. I am working, so I'm trying to get this thing done quickly. And again, I need to talk to my camera guy because he's not showing what I'm up to up here. But we'll get him ironed out here one of these days. Maybe when I have a million subscribers, I can hire a proper camera operator. So last night really had a great time visiting with my new friend, and you can see him in the chat. It's Axiom. He was having some trouble getting an audio interface to work within Reaper, and we spent probably close to, I don't know, 3 hours visiting, getting to know one another, and we got his audio interface problem solved. And he hopefully over the last 24 hours or so has been able to record some stuff and is getting a feel for Reaper. We covered some of the cool shit that you can do in Reaper. So y'all look out, because Axiom's able to record now, and I hope that he's moving forward with that. It was really fun to get to hang with him last night. yeah, you know, it's kind of fun, and I'll just take a moment to share. You know, I've helped a lot of folks get their studios up and running, and I am not, you know, necessarily the most experienced, although it would be fun to find a few people that have more experience than me, but there aren't very many. And it seemed like Axiom had a lot of experience in he definitely could navigate on a computer, which made that job really easy. But it's really fun for me to get to share that information, my knowledge with people, which is why I do this broadcast. Welcome to the bench. It's fun to be able to show people, and hopefully you, my friends, will learn something from watching me do a bit of work on guitars. There's almost always something that you can learn. Yeah, Zach, how you doing tonight, Zach? How are you? Welcome, brother. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate you checking in, man. And if you're watching the stream and you aren't subscribed and you would like to make a comment, you have to subscribe to my channel. It'll take about 10 minutes for you to be able to comment. And if you have any input or want to share some knowledge with me, let me know. I'm not afraid to learn something. I certainly don't know it all. All right, so this one we're going to go ahead and put some strings, and I've removed that shim. 3rd and 6th unit. I've removed that shim from the saddle, so the string action is going to drop. But the other thing that I noticed about this guitar on the initial inspection was that the neck relief wasn't proper. So we are going to have to address that also. And this does smartly have a truss rod in a classical guitar. A lot of these are made with the steel reinforced neck, and it gives you those don't give you the opportunity to straighten them out. So very cool that these guys, Art and Luthrie again, and their pride in their construction, put a truss rod in a classical guitar. If you own a classical guitar, I'd be curious, and maybe we could do a little poll here. If you do own a classical guitar, just type a 2 in the chat if you own a classical guitar. Let's get you up into the business here, in the business end of this. And I am going to remove some of the length of this string. I generally have a pretty good eye for this, but I like to leave about 4 to 5 inches past the string winder, so that I've got enough to get enough windings on these strings that they don't pop out. I push them through the hole and begin to tighten the machine head, and I rely on the tension of the string to hold the string in place. I don't usually end up having to clip any extra string off. Let's see, 2. So Mark owns one. Oh, Hugh, you own one too, and Zach, you own a nylon string guitar. Cool. I kind of figured Hugh and Mark. Of course, I probably already knew that Mark owned one, but yeah. So this is my method of putting a string on a nylon string guitar. As you can see, I didn't tie any knots. I didn't have to. And as you can see, the string is not going anywhere. I went over one side of the penetration there, and then went on the opposite side. And as you all know, with nylon string guitars, you got to stretch these fucking things forever. Excuse the French, but it takes a while to stretch these bad boys. So another cool thing about these Art and Luthries, I want you to notice here in the saddle, the way this saddle is designed, it's very easy to push the string through here. I don't really like the engineering behind the way these saddles are, because this piece of wood is fairly thin, but the string tension on a nylon string guitar is not terribly intense. So this is definitely adequate for this guitar. So, and on the unwound strings, I like to get a few extra winds on there, so I'll often go about 6 inches beyond the machine head. We'll call this a machine head, the string winder, whatever you want to call it. Well, about 6 inches beyond that. Hopefully you can see where I'm at back here, but I'm measuring off about 6 inches. And my my ability to measure stuff by eye is pretty acute, because I was a journeyman plumber for a lot of years, and ended up having to cut a lot of pipe at times where I needed an exact 5-inch piece of pipe, and I could literally cut a piece of pipe and I would be within a 32nd of an inch of being accurate. So over the years with that work experience, I've become pretty good at using my eye to measure something. And then again, with these machine heads, the ratio, the spin ratio is pretty low. So it takes a long time to get these things to get wound on here. So again, the time that it takes to put strings on a nylon string guitar takes a little while longer. And this is the treble E and the D string. I like how they package these up. Saves a bunch of paper, and I wish Ernie Ball would do this. And it's funny because I don't know, many of you have heard about people bitching about strings that are wound like this, but you can't tell which string is which, really. I guess if you didn't have very good vision, you might have a little trouble, but I just think it's funny that people complain, oh, how do you tell which string is which? Come on, really? Alright, so this is our treble D string, or a treble E string, sorry. We'll go ahead and throw this one on. And again, watch how easy this is to get through this saddle. If you put strings on nylon string guitars, you'll know what I mean when you push this through here. A lot of times it'll dig into this side of that. These ones just go right through, and they're just really user-friendly. I'm using ball end strings on this. Yeah, I could do the whole tie thing, but these came as ball ends, and the guitar will handle that, so we'll go ahead and use them. And again, I'm going to go about 7 inches on this one past the machine head, cut off the excess string, and start winding. And I do all of them pretty much the same on these, so we'll do a bunch of repetitious BS here. And I'll try and do my best to check the messages to see if anybody's offering me some advice on other ways, or maybe better ways I could do this. I haven't found one. The string tension usually does a trick. Now, here's another thing that I will often do is when I get it to this point, especially on these lighter strings, I'll grab the end of that and pull it through a little bit, because I don't have a whole lot coming through here, so I want to pull a little extra string through here. There we go. We got about a 1/2 inch on this, and now I can put some tension on that. Usually, of course, this one's not going to do exactly what I want it to do. I just made my work a little bit harder. We'll give it a little bit more. And we'll get a few more windings on here, and we'll be able to cinch it up. You'll notice I'm letting it kind of lackadaisically be loose a little bit. I said loose. we go. Now, probably what will happen tonight, because I'm live on the air, this string will give me all kinds of trouble. And it won't do what it always does, which is just go on very easily. Yeah. Putting some more tension on it now that I've got a few windings around there. Scoot this over. Again, you know, nylon string guitars take quite a bit more time, usually, to put on than a normal steel, especially with these type of open headstocks. These guitars generally sound really great. I love the sound of an open headstock guitar, but I don't like putting strings on because it just takes so long. It's kind of, unfortunately, it's kind of old school technology that they keep using. I believe that the modern machine heads that are used are definitely far superior to these, but you hear it start to fall in pitch. And if I give one little tug on this string, yeah. That should be pretty close to being an E. My ear still works. Here we go with the D string. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and trim off just a little bit of this one. Just a little. And we'll wind this one this direction. And we will go towards the middle. And I personally do not own a nylon string guitar, but I may, breaking this one in tonight, do some recording with this one. You got to play them for a little bit before they're really ready to be used. You should do that with all guitars after a new set of strings, but nylon strings, you've got to play them for a bit to get them really broke in. These strings stretch for a long time. And I'm going to take a look at the chat here once I get this string on here and see if anybody has offered me advice. Helpful advice. There we go. Let's take a look at our messages, see what anybody's had to say about these. Let's see. And again, I'll get my cameraman to look at what we're looking at here. Let's see. Hey, you. I don't want to get it. Yeah. Mike, I hear you, brother. Yeah. Yeah, I like the way, Mark, I agree with you on the open gear tuners. They look really friggin' cool. Let's see. Guitar Shocker, don't belong here. See you guys later. Well, see you later, Guitar Shocker. Okay, cool. Yeah, I hope everything's all right with you, Guitar Shocker. Usually my chat's pretty well disciplined. I don't know if there's bad blood. You know, that's I don't know. Work it out. Whatever. Okay, so we're gonna put the B and the A string back on there. Oh, and by the way, that harmony right there, that guitar is for sale. It's a 67 harmony. I might show you a little bit later if you're interested in a hollow body guitar. That one was restored approximately, oh gosh, I restored that guitar 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, and it is for sale. It is a fantastic instrument. I just don't use it enough, and I feel like a guitar hanging on my wall that never gets played needs to go to a home where it will be appreciated. I don't sell many guitars, and I've sold very, very few throughout my life. I've bought guitars that I just love, and I've never had any real reason to get rid of any of them, any legit reason. But it has Diamond gold foil pickups that just sound fantastic. Let's get you back into the string end of things here. I know, isn't this fun? I modified the bridge on that guitar so that it has more ability for adjustment for proper string action. So that's the only real true modification to that guitar that I've made. And it's fantastic. I've used it on several recordings. If you watch my my video for a cover of the song Cinnamon Girl by Neil Young, I used that guitar on part of the rhythm tracks for that recording. Sounds great, holds tune really well. Has a great neck, feels really comfortable. It's really light. There we go. I don't like these little these stands, these guys. I'm not a big fan, but they're affordable, and they do a pretty good job, but they tip over. And our last and final string, and we'll get out of this mess of putting the strings on here. We'll start checking the setup on this guitar, make sure it's good and healthy. Alright. Give a little bit extra on this one. And we'll go through the hole. And we'll tighten her up. This takes a little while. Oh, I'm not pointing at the... Again, my camera guy, man, this dude. Where are you? Mark and I are in the midst of writing a new song. I got vocal tracks from him today. Let's put a tuner on here and see how close I was. I'm probably nowhere near in tune. Not even close. Probably seems like there's an earthquake going. Now I was damn near dead on with that low E. Damn, not bad. It's nice to know my ear still works. And let's see, Retune is one of my favorite plugins. Now, and it did happen. This B string pulled through, so we're gonna fix that. It did happen. That never happens. Never say never or always, right? Little super glue, this will be fixed in no time. I just don't like these types of machine heads. But they are what they are, and we have to deal with them. And this is a big reason why I don't like them. Again, it's kind of old technology. There's far better ways to do this sort of stuff with just normal modern machine heads. But some people really love the old school way, and I get it. There we go. Getting plenty of string tension on there. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna have to do something different with this one. I'm gonna actually have to tie this in a knot. This almost never happens to me, but I'm gonna have to go against my typical way of stringing up a nylon string guitar and do the double feed. And I don't like doing this, but this one's not going to stay put. I don't really know why this one's giving me as much trouble as it is tonight, so kind of interesting. Oh, we're going to go through the hole twice. Let's see. I do not like doing, because again, if this string gets broken at a gig, it's a pain in the ass to get the string back on there. We're just going to do the double whammy. Pull it tight. I'm going against every grain in my soul doing this, but we've got to do it. There we go. I'll give it a good... Oh my goodness. Good Lord. I'm going to be quiet for a moment. Silence is probably the best policy for me right now. I'm going to be very quiet. Give me a moment. Wow. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm going to get to spend some time looking for a small black bead that just popped off the end of the string where the manufacturer who tied it on there didn't tie a good enough knot, and the ball just popped off of it while I was trying to stretch the string, and I hardly pulled on it at all. So this B string, it can suck it. Holy smokes. So, where did you go? Oh, one other thing, I forgot to dig the stuff out of here that's in here, so let's see what's going on in here. There was something bouncing around in this guitar. Where are you? Okay. Oh yeah, definitely something. What is it? Looks like a chip of something. Not very big. Let's see. Unfortunately, I didn't throw these strings away, so I do have a black bead that I can cut off of that string and tie a proper knot so that it doesn't come undone again. But now I'm going to have to put that B string back on here. Where did you go? Well, there was something bouncing around in here, and there it is. Okay. There it is. Oh. Tiny. Come on. It's almost like the thing's sticky or something, because it's almost sticking to the wall of the interior wall of this guitar. Where did you go? There you are. Where are you? I had it. Of course it escaped my grip. Come on. Interesting. Yeah, it's almost like it's got, oh, there you are. It's almost as if it's got some sticky substance on it. There you are. Alright. Give me a second. I'll get it out of here. Now, if I was at the shop, I would have my little grabber tool, and I'd probably have gotten that out of there already. But maybe, here's what I'm going to try to do. Get it over here. See if it'll... It's like getting a guitar pick out, only this is much smaller than a guitar pick. There you are. Okay. Now, can I get it? Can I get a hold of that with these? Oh boy, that's going to be difficult. It doesn't have anything sticky on it, but boy, trying to get my hand in here, this is a really small sound hole. And the strings aren't really in the way too much. Where did you go? There you are. Okay. I'm going to try my pliers one more time. I think I might have... Let me see if I've got another pair of pliers here someplace. Let me see. There we go. You get old-fashioned needle nose, which I don't use very often. I usually use the bent ones, but woo, this is fun. Where did you go? There you went. I had it out, and it, of course, it has this little teeny target to land in, and it landed in it for sure. Never forget who you're messing with here. I know my head's right in the middle of the movie, and I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm working. Good grief. Should have got this out of here before I put the strings on it, but I just got too big of a hurry here. I don't know what this is. It's interesting. I hope it's not supposed to be in here, but I won't throw it away. If she wants to put it back here, she can. Almost got it. Almost. Whatever it is, it's pretty... I just can't get a hold of it. I will, but it's not playing nice right now. You guys are probably having a blast watching me wrestle with this thing. And it really, I don't think this really matters that much, but it almost looks like it's like a chunk of glue that chipped off of something during the construction of the guitar. And it has a texture. There it goes. I got it. I don't know what this is, but there it is. That was inside this guitar, and it was kind of rattling around, so probably not a good idea to leave that in there. So here we go. I'm going to pull this little ball end off of the B string. We'll remove the B string again, and we'll restring this thing up, and we'll tie a better knot on that ball end. There we go. Yeah, so the knot that was tied on the end of this string came untied, and so the ball end came off of here. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and put this on from the other. I do not want to drop this little ball. This thing will vanish into infinity. Need better lights. My place is sort of dark. It's not like working at the shop where I got all kinds of nice bright white fluorescent lights that make everything buzz. I am gonna do my goodness. Oh, this thing is playing hard to get. Here we go. I have to trim a little bit more off of this. I don't have my typical razor blade here at home. I love using a razor blade. That would have been a perfect tool for this. And to be honest, this is exactly why not many guys would be willing to do guitar repairs live, because stuff like this happens. And you know, here's another very important point. If this had been a young kid putting strings on their guitar and that happened to them, they would probably have a guitar that wouldn't have strings on it again until they could afford to buy a new set. So, you're gonna go. This is not wanting to go through there. That's amazing. Let me try different. Before I do this, so I've got two of these guys watching me struggle. Isn't that fun? Oh wow. Normally I would have been long done with this string change by now. But stuff like this happens. And again, it's why guys like Dave and a lot of other guitar techs won't put this sort of stuff on a live stream. Okay. There it went. Alright, so here we go. My camera guy's doing alright now. Seems to be paying pretty close attention to what I'm up to. There we go. Get back up here and we'll do this for the third time on this string. Put the B string on this guitar 3 times. Oh, the joys of work. And I love it. You know, if it wasn't for challenges like this, I don't know if I'd still be doing the same thing, but I absolutely love a good challenge. I appreciate it. Come on. All right. Now I'm going to go very gently when I go to stretch these strings, because again the ball ends on them, and the fact that one of them came loose I'm just going to go really gently with stretching these things. And I think that also, before I get too far ahead of myself, I'm going to go ahead and do the same method with the treble E string. I'm going to go twice through the machine head, make sure that thing doesn't come loose. Here's everything's holding really well. Isn't that fun to listen to? The guitar tuning song. Oh boy. I'm one of those guys that if something could possibly go wrong, it will do its damnedest to go wrong. I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen on this treble E string. Everything else is holding just fine. Will be just great, but we're going to go through here twice. I don't know, you know, if there's an issue with these machine heads. Not that there's an issue with them, but there might be the taper or the diameter of these things just really doesn't like my style of putting the strings on. Could be that. A very, very slow turning ratio on this one. Let's see if we can get this. Come on. All right. There we go. We're going to go back through. We have one wrap on these. Pull a little bit through there. Pull it cinch tight. And let's go ahead and wind her back up. Boop. Yeah. It's like watching an amateur, right? So now that we've got strings on this and it doesn't appear that any of them are coming loose, we'll start to stretch these strings. Now this process will usually take quite a while. Again, I'm going to go really gently with these ones, given the fact that that B string. Wow, these are not stretching a whole lot. That's interesting. Again, I'm going pretty gentle on the stretching process here. I just don't want another knot to come undone. Very nice. So now that I've taken the shim out of this saddle, the string action would have dropped ever so slightly. It wasn't a very tall shim. I'm going to put that ball end over there. But our string action here at the 12th fret is actually 6/64ths, and then we're at almost 6/64ths. So my thought is that removing that shim brought the string action down. Now, the string action on classical guitars is typically higher than it would be on a on acoustic instrument. So let's give this thing a little strum just to see what she sounds like. Get the camera up here a little bit so you can see a little bit better, maybe. Let's see. Thought I'd put a little spotlight on the guitar. Strings are still kind of settling in on this. This is why I say on nylon string guitars, I got a little aggressive when I was stretching these things, and I broke the ball end. Didn't break it, I just untied the knot by pulling too hard on this. So typically I'll stretch them pretty lightly, and then go ahead and play the guitar for a while, and play it untypical for a nylon string guitar, bending notes and things like that, to try and stretch them while playing them, which I'm not a big fan of doing that, but definitely works. So it seems like this thing Seems to be holding tune pretty good. That's a song called 500 Miles High. It's an old jazz standard that I've kind of rocked up a little bit because that's my style of playing. I don't play a ton of jazz. So let's see what's left. Oh, we got to check the neck relief. Now, I did notice earlier without having one string on it, the neck relief was definitely very, very flat. Now, here I am at home without all my tools from the shop. So we're going to check the neck relief with no rulers. I said it. We need some more neck relief. We need to create a little bit of bow in this neck, just a tiny amount. And in typical classical guitars, the neck is fairly flat, and it's definitely flat with regard to the radius. There is no radius. And it is a typical 4mm Allen key adjustment, and it's just awesome that Art and Luthrie put a truss rod in a classical guitar. So we're going to loosen the truss rod about that far, and I'm going to check the tuning one more time. Let's see what this tells us. And that tiny little move right there was all I needed to make on this thing. Let me take a look at the messages, you guys, and forgive me for not paying too close attention to that. I mean, I'm not apologizing. I'm just asking for forgiveness. I'll point you over here at the workstation. Just ignore the insulin and all that. Let's see. Yeah. Metric rules. Let's see. Yeah, Friday's got me, man. Oh no, Mike, I missed that. Yeah. You like cat guts, brother. I love that. Definitely the B string is definitely falling flat on that one, and I'm just going to play the stretch out of it. Likely we'll do that. Axiom, how is your recording setup working for you today? Is everything? Did you get like hours and hours of time in with with Reaper? I hope you're still here. Metric rules, yeah. And Mark, I have about I want to say 3/4 of a millimeter of neck relief on that. A very, very tiny amount. Nylon string guitars, you know, the strings, they don't vibrate up and down. They spin in a circle when you strike them. They obviously don't go up and down. So typically on a classical guitar, you don't need quite the same amount of neck relief on it, and I've heard both opinions of this, but I like to leave mine very, very small amount of neck relief. Yeah, can't hear it after you record a track. It's like it's recording very low. Okay. It may be. Also, you want to make sure that your master bus is turned up at 0. And you can also look at the waveform and kind of get a visual idea. I don't like looking at audio and mixing, but that's a bad idea. But in this case, if you're getting a really tiny waveform, you can often realize at that point that your gain control on your audio interface is not turned up hot enough. Don't let that gain control cause Yeah, probably 2 millimeters. Hey, Falco, welcome, Ron. Hello. Hi, Ron. I'm guessing, what is it, morning, afternoon where you are? Ron, welcome from Ho Chi Minh City. It's great to see you here. Thanks for joining us tonight, Ron. I had such a blast last night watching Ron Ward's show. You guys, if you're not subscribed to Ron Ward's show, hook up with Ron. He has created a community that is just really fantastic. And last night, it was a first for his broadcast, and it was just a really super fun show. He and Dom, a gentleman that's also a member of that community, played Beatles tunes and Rolling Stones tunes. And honestly, I'm not a fan of either band. I said it. I've heard their music so many times in so many bars and on the radio, and just a little burned out on the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. All due respect, Keith will outlive us all. However, not a big fan of their music just because I've heard it so much. But their show, Ron, your show last night was fucking awesome. Yeah. Charlie, I love you, bro. Thanks for being here, Charlie. And Richard, welcome again. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not afraid to admit it. I've never been a big fan of the Beatles. However, I will say that, let's see, is it the Beatles? No, I think it was a Beatles tune was on the radio when I was probably 6, 7 years old. And I had an idea about just playing drums with it. I remember sitting on my bed, and I don't know if I just had 2 wooden spoons or what. I broke every wooden spoon in our house with my butt, by the way. But I remember just beating the shit. And I know it was a Beatles tune. It's like one of their kind of more hard, maybe it was Revolution. Say you want a revolution, well, right? And I just played the shit out of that thing. And that was, I think, a pivotal moment in my life when music became something that I was definitely 100% gung-ho for. So, all due respect. Yeah. I'm not afraid to admit it. I've definitely heard every Beatles tune ever recorded, and certainly every Rolling Stones tune ever, many, many times. My respect for those bands is without an end. The musicality of them. Yeah, yeah, I did. So there's my Beatles story. I didn't ever meet any of them. Yeah. But they were all still alive while I was alive, so that was cool. At least I could say that, yeah. 100% total respect. And again, just everybody that's here, welcome. Thanks for being here. I've kind of gotten the, yeah. I hear you, Ron. Yeah, that's it. Kind of gotten done with the nylon string guitar, and now I'm going to turn my attention to the other homemade guitar that Leah built with a friend. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and throw some music on. Let's see what I've got here. And you're only going to hear this. I have a bunch of instrumental stuff. Well, no. Here we go. So this is some original music that I've composed over the years. This one might have been used in a movie that you've probably all seen, but maybe. it's buffering. Fuck. This fucking thing. God damn it. Boy, I hope this has stopped doing that buffering trick. It's OBS, or I'm not even using OBS. I'm using Prism tonight, by the way. Let's see what's going on with Prism. There we are. And God, you guys, I'm so sorry that this is buffering like that. That sucks. Open widget. Whatever. There's my chat. Yeah, that's a shame that that's happening. And I don't know if I can solve it. Yeah, it seems to be buffering. I don't know why. Well, let's see. What can I do? I'm using Prism to do this live stream, but I get this error message from YouTube quite often. Let's open widget. Stream health. Error, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain. I'm not using CPU. What do I have open that's eating up? I don't have anything running on my computer. So, hoping that the error has been fixed. Man, what a bummer. Total party pooper. So the audio is sounding all right, but you're just getting, yeah, the 4K vid. Yeah. Hopefully things have clarified a little bit now. It's glitching. And I have the fastest internet available in my city, and I have a pretty powerful computer, and I'm only using Prism right now. I'm not using OBS, and Prism is using, yeah, there's something going on in my computer right now that is eating up a lot of the CPU, and I have no idea what. I mean, I don't have anything running on my computer. I have like nothing. Well, I'm gonna continue to try and work on guitars while I've got you guys here, and hopefully things get clarified. So the nylon string, I think, is pretty well done. Let me take the tuner off of here, and I want to double check the string action on this. Hopefully we're doing all right. Where are my glasses? Let me close my door. It's gotten a little bit cold here. Oh, and my lava lamp is doing its lava thing. That's kind of cool. It's so stony. Well, why don't I try playing something? Check the tune, and it definitely fell out of tune a little bit. If Ron can play live, I can play live. I'll play we'll give him a little bit more of a tug here. Get this thing. Dom did such a fantastic job last night playing their pieces. I mean, to play Beatles and Rolling Stones tunes live, that's balls, man. Big balls. Let's see. I went down the road. I went there to see my friend. I went back down the road. Yeah, I went back down again. And I love to spend the time, relax and just unwind for a while. And I love the way we laugh, take our little walks in the sun. And I went down the road. I went there to see my friend. I went back down the road. Yeah, I went back down again. And I love to spend the time, relax and just unwind for a while. And I love the way we laugh and take our little walks in the sun. And my friend, I love to see you. My friend, you mean the world to me. And I wish to stay forever. I wish for more to come once again. You want to go outside, so I open up and let you in. The weather's getting colder, so I go back down again. You want to go outside, so I open up and let you in. The weather's getting colder, so I go back down again. And I love to spend the time, relax and just unwind for a while. And I love the way we laugh, take our little walks in the sun. And my friend, I love to see you. My friend, you mean the world to me. And the weather's getting colder, so I go back down again. And the weather's getting colder, so I go back down again. Thank you very much. That's an original song I wrote a few years ago. It's about friendship. And I gotta say something right now. It's gonna get emotional here. A good friend of mine, very good friend of mine, who's here with me right now. Forgive me if I cry. And maybe a few of you know, but a friend of mine lost his dad last night, and I made a post about it on social media, but I want you all to know that he has been a light in my life. He's given me much inspiration. He has challenged me. He has calmed me down when I was upset about shit. He has made me laugh, and he's made me cry at times. I get a bit of a musical piece or something like that from him, and sometimes I just can't help it. I'm a pretty emotional person, and I'm not afraid to cry. And I want you all to keep my friend in your thoughts, and I'm not going to say his name because that's his private stuff here on my YouTube live stream, but you can call him my friend, and keep my friend in your thoughts. It was a tough night and a tough day for me. I found myself sitting here at home working on a song that he and I were working on, writing together, and just in the midst of it, just started weeping in sadness, and for him, and the fact that I will never get to meet his dad, and I was hoping that someday I could shake his hand, but what I said on my social media post was that I'm grateful to the ground under my feet, the air in my lungs, and the blood in my veins for his dad, Benjamin. And so keep my friend in your thoughts, and just know he seems to be doing okay. I kept in touch with him all day, and I think that he may actually need some help, and I don't know if he's too proud to ask for it, but he needs to be with his mom right now. His mom, she just lost her husband and his dad, and if you'd like to help him out, please reach out to me via Facebook. That's the best way to reach me. I'm Marshall Turner on Facebook. Send me a message. He could use, I think, a little bit of money as things have changed over the years. Not everybody has enough money to do the things that he needs to do right now. He needs to be with his mom. And I sent as much as I could today, but I think he could use some more. So keep him in your thoughts. If you're a praying person, say a prayer for him. But he is a dear, dear friend of mine. I've known him for quite a long time now, and we've made some really cool music together and had some really, really fun experiences together, even though we're on opposite sides of the planet. And I'm grateful to him for reaching out to me when he did, long before any music communities or anything like that. We were talking shop about guitar repair. It's something that he's very interested in, and so keep him in your thoughts. So a little segue for that, so let's move on to let's move on to a Stratocaster. What do you say? So here she is. This is definitely a she. Look at this thing. Isn't that beautiful? Custom paint job. Has locking machine heads. Just a beautiful guitar. And I just love this thing. And I love the fact that it's a kit guitar and that she built it, I believe, with a friend who knew a little bit about guitar work and such. She brought it to me to do ultimately the final setup on this. Close to, I don't know, not quite a year ago. It might have been early last summer or in the spring. reach out to me again with respect to helping my friend out. You can reach out to me via Facebook. Send me a friend request. I know most of you guys, and I'm fine with that. Or send me a message on Facebook, or my email address is readily available on my About page on YouTube, and I can get you some information to be able to send money directly to him. So I'm going to leave that at that. So I was lucky enough to get to work on this beautiful homemade guitar, and we'll point you down here at the guitar. Here she is. Isn't that beautiful? So I'm just going to kind of give it a good look over. She was complaining about a little bit of rattle in the guitar. I haven't been able to, I haven't really noticed any rattle per se on this thing, but I do want to check the string action, and because it just appeared to me to be a little bit high when I played it, and I'm measuring 6/64, so it is a little bit high here on the low E, but very accurately set up, man. Whoever set this thing up, man, fucking awesome. She told me that she hadn't put new strings on it, and apparently she doesn't sweat a lot when she plays, which is great. That'll keep the strings nice and healthy in most cases. Ooh, I can see something going on right now that I need to address. One of these string pay, or one of these saddles has a notice this set screw right here. Hopefully you can see that. It is definitely tilting, and so it's not threaded in there correctly. So we're gonna reduce the tension on that string. I'll loosen it up a lot. Loosen it up quite a bit so that I can hopefully manhandle this saddle and get the what do you call it? That's like a piece of all thread. What are those things called? Adjustment screws. I think this is the right size. Yeah, that is the correct size. Alright, so what I'm going to try and do here is give it a little shove. I may need to try and straighten this thing out a little bit. Okay, I think, yeah, there we go. Yeah, there it went. Okay, so that problem is fixed. There we go. Looks much better. So these saddles are extended way up high. Almost would be willing to bet that the neck angle isn't quite right. It almost looks like this neck might have been glued in here, but that's fine. We'll let that ride. And I'll tune this back up to pitch again. There we go. I'm just turning the machine head. Hopefully everybody's doing great tonight. Let's check our tuning. We're gonna there we go. Very nice. Okay. Now, again, the string action on this is a little bit high, so we're gonna do some measuring and make some adjustments. We're definitely high on the low E string, so we're gonna drop this down just a bit. We want to keep the saddles level with respect to the top of the guitar, meaning flat with the top. Okay, and I'm measuring at the 17th fret on a Fender. You want to measure, or Fender scale guitar. Typically, you want to measure at the 17th fret, not the 12th. If you're doing this stuff at home, all right, now we're looking good. That's 5/64ths, and the A is at 5/64ths, and the D is about 4.5. So that's good. I mean, I did have to move that. The adjustment screw a little bit, but where it ended up is just great. We're about 4.5/64ths on the G string, so let's drop this down just a hair, try and get it down to 4/64ths, and then I'll play it a little bit and see how it behaves if I'm creating any fret buzz. Okay. Now there we are at 4/64ths, and again on the B string we're about 4.5, so we want to get this down to about 4. I could get away with maybe 3.5/64ths on a typical Fender Strat, but we don't need to get too crazy. She's not looking for shred metal string action on this thing, I don't think. Again, we're a little bit high on the treble E string, so I'm going to drop this down just a hair, making these adjustments. This is stuff you all can do on your own at home. It's good to use a measuring device like I have that measures down at 1/64ths of an inch. All right, now we're at 4/64ths. Now, having made that adjustment, I want to play the guitar again, just acoustically, to see how it feels for me. I haven't looked at the chat here for a few minutes, and oh, and by the way, she brought her instrument to me, and it didn't have a whammy bar in the case or anything, and so I want to remind y'all, and it may not actually, she may not have the bar for this, I don't know, but if you take your guitar to a tech, it's a really good idea to send the whammy bar. Most techs will have one. I have several of these because I've got guitars that have had this type of tremolo system on it, so I've got them here at home. This isn't actually the right size. It's actually, I believe this is the saddle requires a 5mm Allen key or whammy bar, vibrato bar. And this, I believe, is a 4mm, so it's a little bit small, but it does the trick. And in order to get it to stay put, I put a little bit of tape on the end of that to hold it in place, which is something that you can do on your own guitar if you need to. Although I honestly don't know if this is actually a thread-in type whammy system. It doesn't seem to be. Yeah. So let's see how she feels. Fred's snoring like a boss over there. Can you guys hear my cat snoring? He is snoring like a boss, man. Holy smokes. And when I set this thing up, I set it up with a floating vibrato, which is how Leo intended them to be set up. Not most, but many Strat owners do themselves an injustice by locking the whammy bar down, and in my experience that makes them not stay in tune as well as they would if it was floating. So I highly recommend, if you own a Stratocaster, to allow your bar to float. You can see that there's room to pull back on it and to push forward. And as I recall, this instrument, the way the body, the construction of the body, it blocks it from actually being able to lay flat. There's some imperfections in the CNC machinery when this guitar body was built, so this bar doesn't sit correctly. But we can deal with that. Typically, with a bar that was tilted that high up, you can see the tilt on that. If I flip it over, you can see how tilted that is, which is about where I like them. But this one actually doesn't. I can get a little bit of a upward motion, but so we got a tall fret up in yeah. So at this point, now that I've made those adjustments and discovered that the adjustments that I've made have caused the guitar to be fretting out. Now here's another thing. These frets have never been leveled and crowned. And they look like they're seated really nicely just in my initial look over this guitar. However, if you buy a kit guitar, one of the things, and I don't care if you spent, you know, 50 bucks on a neck or if you spent 300 bucks on a neck, almost all of them, a brand new neck needs to be leveled and crowned. You have it definitely takes very specific tools and having some experience doing that. If you try to do that on your own, man, be sure to pick a guitar that you don't care about, because you can fuck one up very easily by doing a level. These frets need to be leveled and crowned. And so now that I've made that adjustment, I got the string action down where it should be, but at that point, and yeah, so there's a tall spot in that fret. Yeah, so this one fret is a little bit tall. So I'm going to go back to that string because I don't want her to not be able to play a note on a particular string. And it's happening here around, what is it, the 20th fret on this. And this also, it's beautiful. This has 22 frets. My compliments on choosing a guitar with 22 frets. Fender making 21 fret Stratocasters. That's about the biggest blunder, right next to a Gibson headstock, in the history of guitar. Now, all I'm doing now, I'm not measuring anything. I'm raising that string up so that the note sounds at the 20, because if she plays this note, so we've got to get that saddle brought up, which the string is going to be way higher than it needs to be, but that's okay. At least the note. So that note right there, sorry, you probably can't see what I'm doing here. So the note here is a little bit splatty. I'm going to leave it like that. It makes the playability of this guitar easier. I don't want to get the strings up way too high for her. We'll keep it as simple. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and raise this high E string just a bit. I'm going to give it a quarter turn and a quarter turn. Do that one just a bit more. There we go. See if that. We're going to go another quarter turn. And then another quarter turn. Yeah, we got definitely have a tall fret right there. Boy, that's a bummer. And that might be why. I remember when I was looking at this earlier, when I measured the string height, I was like, oh, that's a little bit high. And this may be why I had set it up. So that note is now ringing, but it's not crystal clear, but we're going to call that good. The young lady that owns this guitar, I think she's primarily playing chordal type exercises on the instrument, so she's not up bending notes, at least not that I know of. So this note does sound, and it feels okay. It's not perfect. The guitar definitely needs some fret work, so we're gonna have to call that a day. Now, I do want to check the intonation. Now, when I do this, I'm going to go ahead and plug the guitar in, and I'm going to use my tuner in archetype Nolly to check the intonation on this. I'm going to check our messages real quick. We'll see. There you guys are, up there on the old television. Yeah. Oh, okay. Alright. Haha. Let's see. Mark, I don't think the frets are lifting. I've built a couple of kit guitars, and they all need to be leveled and crowned. They look like they're seated flat against the wood on the fingerboard. The fingerboard is lightly finished with some sort of finish, but there's no finish on the frets, so they weren't like painted over like Fender does. Another stupid idea, but nonetheless, no, the frets aren't lifting. Yeah, I call it chasing frets. If you start spot leveling frets, you're going to be chasing frets all fucking day, man. It never fails. It'll take you twice as long to spot level frets as it does to just do the whole thing and get the whole fingerboard leveled out. And especially in that area of the neck, I often like to put a couple pieces of painter's tape over either the 12th or the 13th fret, which puts your sanding block or leveling block at a bit of an angle. And we're talking about the thickness of 2 pieces of tape, which gives you fall away at the top end of the fingerboard. And it's very, very subtle, but if that had been done on this guitar, it definitely wouldn't be having a fret buzz. It's a practice that I've been doing for a long time. I've done it to my own Stratocaster. This is my good old Strat. I don't know. That's my number one, the SG. But there's my Strat. I've refretted that, and I do not like spot leveling at all. I'll avoid that like the plague. Oh, dude, Preston, say no more. There's a lot of guys right here that would love to collaborate with you. I would love to hear some original music from you, bro. I'm not the greatest songwriter. Obviously, I'm not, because I don't release much music, and I'm trying to only release original music right now, and obviously I haven't done that for a while. While I'm thinking, while that's going on, I want to see if I can do this real quick. Let me see. I might be able to do this. Yeah. I might be able to do this. What's Prism doing? Yeah. Mark's built quite a few guitars. Let me see if I can open this. Yeah, here we go. All right, Mark, don't swing at me. No punching. No punches thrown. Hope everybody's having a great Friday night. My night's just going great. I would either be working on guitars or I'd be sitting here working on my DAW. Here's a new project that I've been working on with a good friend of mine. Some of you might recognize his voice. Again, no punching, Mark, and specifically. Let's see what this thing sounds like. This is like a preview of a song. Hopefully this works. It should. I know it's just coming through my microphone on my camera, but here you go. That's what it looks like.
Why did you leave us? The whole reason my heart, dark clouds away. The world around is tough, but full of hope. And now you're gone. What went wrong? Why have you gone? Help me understand what you've done. I feel betrayed and left alone. Help me find an answer is dark and endless. Why have we become dark and endless? Answers dark and endless. Why have we become? Where are we all gone? I don't know. We're all together now. Friends around us, lovers. We remember they all care. Don't hide inside your head. That ain't living. That ain't living. Let it out. Let me in. Can we find redemption? All I know is you're my friend. What went wrong? Why have you gone? Help me understand what you have done. I feel betrayed and left alone. Help me find an answer. Help me find an answer. Answers dark and endless. Why have you become dark and endless? Answers dark and endless. Why have you become? Where have we all gone? I don't know why. The end is not an answer. The end is not an answer. The end is not an answer. The end is not an answer.
Very cool to get to work on tunes like that. That song was written, Mike, too many to say hi to everybody. Yeah, that's a new MT squared tune, and I say new, but I'll use that word very loosely. That was written, gosh, what, 2 years ago, or maybe even 2 years. I can't remember exactly when that happened, but obviously it's kind of a slow, somewhat sad song, but it has a great story within it. It asks some very important questions. Yeah. Thanks, Ron. And, that's just picking it up through my microphone here. I'm not running direct into Prism from Reaper, and otherwise the sound quality would be good. But here's the other detail: is that Mark sent me those lyrics, gosh, a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I've been sitting here not being very creative. I play a lot. I still do. Play guitar all the time, but haven't been writing anything. And so I tuned my old Nolte acoustic down to C drop. Well, it's not drop C sharp. It was just C sharp natural tuning, low, and pretty low for an acoustic. And started playing that riff, and I was like, that's pretty cool. And I started looking through some old lyrics that I had in my file folder that I've received from Mark, and I started putting those lyrics to it. I'm like, hey, they fit. So, okay. Now, here's the other thing: is that you're going to get to hear two versions of that song. You got to listen to it one more time, simply because I have my own vocal performance on it, and Mark did alter some lyrics between that vocal take, which he just recorded this afternoon. So this is very fresh off the presses. Very cool to get this, and another moment of tears falling out of my eyes today. So let me open up that project one more time, and I'm going to go up here and get rid of Mark's vocals, and hopefully my vocals. Oh, let me make sure I haven't fucked this up. I may have. Yeah, I did. All right, so we're not going to be able to listen to that like that. However, I am going to open up the in here, mix 14. No, hang on, I gotta find it. MT squared, where are you? There you are. So this is my vocal performance on this. And Mark and I do this quite often, where he'll send me lyrics and I will humbly record some vocals for a song and send that mix to Mark to give him an idea of my vocal melody, and then he runs with it and changes the melody and changes the phrasing. It's really fun. So same exact song, minus the electric guitars. I started tracking electrics on it, so here we go. We'll roll this one for you. This should work just fine, I think. Come on, here we go. Listen to this. This mix has been mastered. see or hear a little bit of the evolution of a song that we wrote, me and my buddy wrote together. You know, it's really super cool to have a friend like that I can work with, that he doesn't mind that I put my own vocals on stuff, and there's no offense, or it's not like, you took my lyrics and you just did your own thing with them. That's not how we roll, and it's really super fun to be able to have that person to bounce ideas off of, and to receive lyrics, things like that are very intimate and personal to him. So again, it's really kind of a cool ability to watch and hear the evolution of a song. Yeah. Incoming. Oh yeah. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, and there's also some stuff coming about with collaborations. There's some software available to help people to be able to actually play and produce music together. Mark and I have our methods, which is why I always end up with 388.026 mixes before I release a song, because we mix it, send it to Mark, give it a listen, record the parts. He'll send them back. We'll remix it, send him that mix, and then he'll re-record stuff, and then he sends it back to me, and I'm like, oh, that needs more guitars, or it needs more bass, or some samples. And we do that back and forth 450.7 times, or 785.36 times, and then we end up with a mix that you all get to see and watch the video and all that shit. So, you know, there's no real truly great way to do online production work. At least I haven't experienced it yet. I have an old computer. It's not super fast, but the internet is not fast enough yet. I know that there's been some talk in a couple of the groups that I belong to about this software that came out that said you could do it, but I have yet to experience it. And watching people play together online is actually kind of funny, because there's no way you can do that. It's impossible. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Mike. And Mike, thanks for being here, man. It's really great to see you out tonight and hanging with me doing this work. Is it buffering? Fuck. I'm going to shut Reaper off. Yeah, we'll save that. God damn it. Let's see. Yeah, when I, fuck, man. When I run too much stuff, my buff, it can't keep up. You can see the reading I'm getting. So I apologize about that, you guys. I have super fast internet, and I don't know why I'm experiencing this. Hopefully, let me see. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully the buffering has stopped. I turned Reaper off. That eats up a lot of CPU. And what's interesting to me right now is that Prism is using, it's telling me that it's using 76% of my CPU, which is mind-boggling. So I don't know if it's buffering a bit still. So let's get back to the Stratocaster. And I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of intonation work on this, just to kind of give it that final touch, and then I'll play it a bit, just to see and make sure this thing is in tip-top shape. Let's check our intonation. And I think to do this, rather than use Archetype Nolly, because it seems to be I don't know if we're buffering or if anybody can even see or hear me now at all, but I'm going to go ahead and continue working on this. The fact that this stuff happens, it never happens unless I go live. So I've made all these adjustments to the string height so the guitar is really whacked out of tune. Whacked out of tune. Now, I will say this. I am hearing a little bit of rattling going on in this guitar, and what it sounds like to me is that the, forgive me, I'm going to wipe my nose off. It sounds to me like the springs in the tremolo are vibrating a little bit, which we can go inside here, and here's a great idea if you own a Stratocaster. Take a piece of foam or a piece of rag and put it under your springs in your Stratocaster vibrato system. And just run it under the spring so that it's making contact with them, and often that will silence that. You don't want to hear that while you're recording for sure. Dead on. God, whoever did this, I might be out of a job. And I am doing this in the seated position. Let me point this camera down. I think you guys can see okay. I'm definitely hearing some rattle from the springs. So our A string is a little bit sharp, and we've adjusted the string action on this guitar some tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and use my handy dandy screwdriver. Be very careful not to scratch a finish on a guitar if you're using a screwdriver like this, or sharp. Oh boy. Yeah, I remember when I was setting these up, these screws were really really hard to turn on this one, but it's almost like the... Now, in intonating a guitar, I prefer to have the string be ever so slightly flat than having it be ever so slightly sharp. And I'm having to be really brutal pushing this screwdriver into the screw here, because it does not turn real easily, and probably the screws are probably not made of the best stainless steel or best steel in the world. There we go. My snark is telling me that it's on. I don't have my my Peterson here at home, so I'll use the G string is a little bit sharp. My G string's always sharp. Dang thing just makes me... Still a little bit sharp. I'd rather have them be flat than be sharp, because we bend guitar strings sharp. We don't flatten them out, so if you want to you're better off to be a little bit flat than you are to be sharp when you're doing this. I think most guitar techs would say the same, or have the same sentiment towards. There we go. I'm gonna give it a couple more turns here. Still seem to still showing sharp. It's amazing how far you have to move certain strings to get the intonation to change at all. It's incredible. Really, it almost, of course, a snark is definitely not the best tuner in the world to do an intonation setup on, but it will get you still showing sharp ever so slightly. I've about got this saddle moved back as far as I can move it. We're gonna call that good. That B string is good. And that E string is good. All right, I think that my work here is just about done. However, I do want to play through this guitar and play through an amp. So I'm going to try this. Let's, I'm going to open up Archetype or Bossy. Oh, dude, no. Fred. There you go. Properties, really. Well, let's not open up Bossy. Let's go to Nolly. Interesting. So now, can I just open it? There we go. So this is Archetype a Bossy. I'm gonna hope. So for some reason something's gone wacky. I can't make a single adjustment to my effects. That's interesting. So I probably can't go in here to my settings. I can. Okay. There we go. That's our. All right. Okay. So hoping that this will sound all right. I have my volume turned down. Back and forth, back and forth. Hang on. You'll hear this thing. You will hear this thing. I'm going to keep the volume somewhat subdued. Oh, look at that. I found the guitar pick I dropped earlier. Oh, lucky dude. Yeah. And now... Boy, that's awful quiet. What is that? What is that? I can't make any adjustments to my archetype Nolly or a Bossy, so I'm going to see if I can open Nolly. Now we're talking. Yeah, I'm unable to. Interesting. My computer is doing some strange shit tonight. It's probably because I'm using Prism. So here's my argument for in music theory. They call the seventh, the major seventh in the Ionian mode, they call the chordal structure of that a diminished chord, and I highly disagree. And here's why. Because every note inside every chord in a diatonic, harmonized major scale should contain notes. It should not contain any notes that are not in the key of the major diatonic chord or scale. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? So we'll get to that in a second here. So that being said, the major seventh note in the E major scale is D sharp. Am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong. It's not E flat, it's D sharp. So we're talking about E major here. So according to scholastic knowledge, the seventh interval chord is a diminished chord. And I will name the notes in a diminished chord. E, D sharp, A, C, and F sharp. What's wrong with this picture? What is wrong with that picture? C is not in the key of E major. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. So technically, and not technically, harmonically, it's a half diminished. And even guys like Rick Beato call it a diminished chord, which creates a note that's not in the diatonic scale. Talk amongst yourselves. You can argue about it. I'm right. It's a half diminished. So the dominant seventh in any major key, and I teach my students this, that the chord is technically, it's a half diminished. And that's how I was taught. But it was funny because I went to college and studied, and my instructors all called it a diminished chord. And I'm like, yeah, but it's a half diminished. The major seventh chord in the major diatonic scale is a half diminished chord. Right? So in C sharp minor, talk amongst yourselves. It's time to hang this thing up. I want to thank y'all for hanging with me. Hopefully, Leah, if you tuned in tonight, that you got to watch a little bit of the work that I was doing on your instruments. Thank you for bringing them over. It was great to see you again. And hopefully, y'all have a wonderful Friday night like I'm having. I'll probably end up running over to the market and grabbing a 6-pack of beer now that I'm done working for the day, and enjoying myself a beer. Maybe have a little smoke. Peace, y'all. Oh, and my lava lamp works pretty good. It's doing the lava thing. The bulb in it's wrong though. Oh well.